28th of the 9th, 2021. Copyright Anthony W. Moore. Sci-fi and fantasy story. Written by Anthony W. Moore. Saving a lady from a hostile castle. Part 1. In a star system 3,000 light years from planet Earth, on a planet called Artheon, Hera Templeton of the fallen house Templeton. She was tall, curvy-bodied with a dark, tanned, long black hair and blue eyes. She was keeled over after being punched in the stomach by Sir Paul Haynes, who was thoroughly enjoying himself. King Dolus Windsor of House Windsor sat on the throne. He was tall with blonde hair and blue eyes. He was good at swords. He was a good swordsman and eminently cruel, cold-blooded. He cut a kitten's throat and threw the dead body on Hera. Sir Paul Haynes ripped Hera's green dress. Hera's ample breasts fell out. She covered them while crying. Dolus smiled. The round glass ceiling broke. A man fell on the floor next to Hera. He was big, easily as big as the Harappa brothers. He was wearing black armor made from Toledo steel, extremely rare. Toledo City had been dead for hundreds of years since the invasions of the Warlocks. Hera's eyes turned into saucers. The knight moved and got up. He was tall, at least 2 meters. On his chest was the sigil of a green Norpin bloodbat. His helmet had glowing red eye slits that made him look intimidating. Hera whispered, "It can't be." Head of Spies Peter Ballard was awed. No man should survive a fall like that. Dolus drew his sword, smiling. "We shall see about that." A big Kingsguard thrust his spear at the knight, who parried it with his right hand easily, smashing it with his left. To everyone's amazement, his left hand lit up. Bright orange, neat sheet of fire thundered out, smashing into the guard, completely lifting him off the floor, and smashing him into the huge double doors, leaving nothing but burnt ash. Another guard thrust his spear. It was going to hit Hera. The knight's left hand, still raised, made the spear come to him. He then threw it at the guard, who was lifted off the floor and impaled on the double doors. Titus Harappa shook himself out of his awe. He was a big man, tall as the knight. He drew his long sword and ran at the knight. Titus swung at thin air. Out of position, the knight kicked the long sword out of Titus Harappa's hands. While in midair, the knight pivoted into a spinning hook kick, catching Titus Harappa on the temple, finishing with a left cross. Titus Harappa was already out long before the left cross hit. He hit the marble floor. A huge minotaur burst through the doors. Hera was awed. The knight sighed. "I don't have time for this shit." He pointed his finger at a stone table, flicked it, and the table smashed into the minotaur, lifting it completely off the floor. There was a loud crack of minotaur bone and sinew. The knight looked at Hera with those frightening red slit eyes. "I need information, and you will give it to me." Hera screamed as she flew to the knight, who grabbed her around the waist. Dolus running towards them, the knight pointed his right hand at Dolus, turned it, Dallas was flipped upside down, legs dangling. He was slammed into a pillar, knocking him out. Hera giggled a little, then screamed as the knight flew at speed through the hole in the ceiling. Coming into the throne room was Dallas' uncle, a tall man with dusty blonde hair. Anthony Windsor, with his mercenaries, he smiled at a rather dishevelled King Dallas. "Need any help, nephew?" Dallas got up. "Don't start, uncle. You're lucky I don't kill you where you stand." Anthony Windsor smiled. "I am happy to give you another sword fighting lesson for a fourth time, nephew." The lead mercenary, Lucius Grant. "I'm glad we got here late." Anthony Windsor looked at him. "My lord, no man has ever knocked out an Harappa. Killed a Minotaur without a sword. Just saying. A man has to know his limitations. That Norpin bloodbath is a big limitation, my lord." Lord Anthony Windsor looked thoughtful. "I am forced to agree with you. I will be visiting the North Phalanx fort in 2 days. You're coming with me." Lucius Grant didn't look happy at all. "I'll get my winter furs ready." On Bald Eagle Mountains. The early morning was making its appearance, and the knight landed lightly on the mountain side. Hera saw a huge bald eagle. It flew by, giving them a wide berth. Normally they attack humans who try to climb the mountains to steal their eggs. Those humans end up as food for their chicks. Hera heaved hard on the grassy ground. The knight started laughing hard at Hera. Hera put her hands on her hips, locked her diamond blue eyes on the knight, who made his armor leave his body. It reassembled near some boulders. Hera caught her breath. The tall man stood in front of her naked. He closed his eyes and seemed to be soaking up the sun rays. He was beautifully handsome, dark brown with green eyes, his black hair in neat long cornrows. His body very dark brown, every millimeter hard chiseled muscle, no trace of fat. He made a blue table appear. There was delicious smelling food on it, some type of chicken with grains she hadn't seen before.